Anthony Campolo is a modern-day crusader who has launched a campaign into a 20th century battlefield. He challenges Christians by illustrating how their faith can offer solutions in a world of extreme complexity. Born in Philadelphia, Campolo entered the arena of science and astronomy as a teenage prodigy who lectured at the Franklin Institute and studied with Albert Einstein. Since then, he's appeared on many fronts: FBI consultant, candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives, pastor, author, host of his own TV show, and currently chairman of the Department of Sociology at Eastern College. Armed with a razor-sharp intellect, a spellbinding power of speech, and an exceptional sense of humor, Dr. Campolo delivers his inspiring proclamation: "It's Friday, but Sunday's coming."
We have a God who transcends the rational. And in the midst of a world where everything is prescribed in categorical terms, we have a God who says, "I am new wine in old wineskins, and I'll tear up your old categories, and I'll break apart your categorical apperceptions." The last thing I want to say is this: we got a God. We have a gospel that not only meets our need for self-esteem, not only meets our need for love, not only meets our need for the miraculous, he meets our need for service. Now that's what we don't understand. A lot of people think that becoming a Christian is becoming pious. Pious. Man, I can't stand piety. When I got saved, that's what the first thing I became, pious. My minister said, "Dancing stimulates the lust of the flesh." Whenever he'd say that, I'd go, yeah. Turn me on. Incidentally, he was right. Have you seen these new dances? Have you seen them? If you can stand in front of a woman vibrating like that for 3 hours and not be turned on, you are not spiritual, you are dead. So we didn't dance in our church because dancing stimulates the lust of the flesh. Instead, we had hay rides. Obviously, you've been on a church hayride, right? There's one guy with a guitar playing "Do Lord," and everybody else is doing it back in the straw, Oh, another thing. We didn't go to movies. My minister said, "What if you're in the movie house when the trumpet sounds and the Lord shall descend, and there you are in the movies?" Next time I went to the movies, I was scared to death. I was sure I was going to get halfway through the flick. The trumpet was going to sound, the Lord was going to return, and I wasn't going to see the end of the show. That's what really happened. Oh, and we didn't smoke. I still don't smoke. Any of you smoke? Do you smoke? I wouldn't kiss a girl that smokes. Kissing a girl that smokes is like licking an ashtray. You know that? Ever get on an airplane, the guy next to you lights up, and while you're choking says, "You don't mind if I smoke, do you?" I have a standard line: "Not if you don't mind if I vomit." Usually wipes him out. Truth of the matter is this: that you can give up smoke and dance in movies and it won't mean a thing, because we can become very pious and never sacrifice. It's about time that we take seriously the claim of Jesus when he says, "If any man would be my disciple, let him deny himself, so whatsoever he hath, take up the cross and follow me." We've been kidding ourselves, haven't we? We think that we can live lives of affluence while there is poverty in the world. Where you read John 1, 1 John, 3rd chapter, 17th, 18th verse, if you have this world's goods, it says, and you see somebody in need and you do not sacrifice to meet that person's need, how then can you say the love of God is in your heart? Good question. I was just outside of the Haitian border on the edge of a grass landing strip, waiting for a little Piper Cub to fly me back to the Capitol, and a woman came towards me. She was holding in her hands her baby. The stomach was swelled 4 or 5 times the normal size. Malnutrition. Arms and legs had become as spindly as my thumbs. The child was dying, dirty and filthy, and hair turned orange because of lack of protein. And she held this baby up to me and she said, "Please, mister, please, take my baby." She wanted me to take her baby back to the United States. She wanted me to adopt the baby and cure her baby. I didn't know what to do. There were thousands of babies like that in the country. I pushed her aside. I said, "I can't help you." She pled again, "Mister, don't let my baby die. Please, mister, don't let my baby die." I kept on pushing her aside, and she kept on pleading, don't turn away. Please take my baby. Don't let my baby die, mister. I was relieved when the little Piper cub touched down at the edge of the grass landing strip. I ran across the field to get away from her. But she came running after me now, screaming at the top of her lungs. Take my baby! Take my baby! Please, mister, don't let my baby die! Don't let my baby die! I climbed into the plane, I closed the plexiglass door. She was alongside of the plane, banging on the fuselage, screaming, don't let my baby die! Don't let my baby die! The engine revved up. We pulled away from her and down the landing strip and into the air. And halfway back to Santo Domingo, halfway back to the capital, it dawned on me who the baby was. The baby was Jesus. One day, someday, he's going to say, I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was naked, you didn't clothe me. I was sick, you didn't care for me. I was a stranger, you didn't take me in. Read the 25th chapter of Matthew. And I'll say, Lord, when did I see you hungry? When did I see you sick? When did I see you a stranger and not take you in? And he's going to say, right at the Haitian border, for inasmuch as ye failed to do it unto the least of these, my brethren, you failed to do it unto me. Hey, people, you know what's the matter with you people? You think that being a Christian is just believing the right stuff? You can believe all the right stuff and be lost. The book of James says Satan believes all the right stuff. Being a Christian is giving of yourself to meet the needs of others. America has 20 million dogs, 73% of which are overweight. You say, what are you saying? I'm saying that God has something to say about people who will overfeed their dogs while they let the kids in Haiti and the kids in Niger and the kids in Ethiopia and the kids in Mali starve to death. And they are starving to death, you know. I remember one time I went to eat at a restaurant in Port-au-Prince, and as I sat down to eat the food, there with their noses pressed up against the glass were 4 little Haitian kids staring at my food. You want to lose your appetite. Haitian kids with their noses. I didn't know what to do. The waiter moved in, he pulled down the Venetian blind, and he turned to me and he said, don't let them bother you. Enjoy your meal. As if I could. But people, isn't that what you're all doing? Aren't you all pulling down the shade? You close them out. 500 million of them suffering from malnutrition out there. And the church has to ask itself some questions. We have $180 billion in this country wrapped up in buildings. Go around this town. See what it's all about. And I want to know what the Lord has to say to a church that wraps up $180 billion in buildings while children die because they don't have their basic needs met. All of this to honor somebody who said, I dwell not in temples made with hands. It's about time that you and your church get your priorities straightened out. Jesus has called us to bring good news to the poor and the oppressed and the suffering peoples of the world. And that means that we're going to have to get off our affluent kick and recognize that Jesus calls us not to become rich, but to give it away to those who are downtrodden and beaten. I heard one preacher today on the television, one of the most famous preachers in America, who when asked a question about his wealth said, I have no apologies for my prosperity, for economic prosperity is God's way of rewarding those who are faithful to Him. If that's true, then what do you say about all those dear saints that I meet in the interior of Haiti who get up 5 o'clock in the morning and worship God with a depth that will make your Christianity seem superficial, but live in poverty that will stagger your imagination? God identifies with the poor and the oppressed, and anybody who will follow Him is called to do the same. Let me tell you this. You're never going to walk with Jesus until you take seriously His invitation to sell, to give, to sacrifice. A church that gives itself away is a church that will survive, a church that will change the world. You say, change the world? Yeah, change the world. I belong to a black church in West Philadelphia. I grew up in West Philadelphia. The community's all black now. We still go to the same church. It's a neat church. I mean, you've been a great congregation, great audience, whatever you want to call it. But as good as you have been, you're not as good as the people in my church. I mean, yeah, you got to preach to a black congregation to know what good is, you see. I mean, in a black church, good or bad, they let you know. One time I was preaching in my church and nothing was happening. Ever you feel a preacher just dying on his feet? I was about 3/4 of the way through the sermon and some lady in the back yelled, "Help him, Jesus! Help him, Jesus!" And I knew it wasn't going well. You know what I mean? I just knew it wasn't going well. Likewise, when you're really on in my church, they let you know, because the deacons sit right up front, and whenever you say something good, they go crazy. They yell, "Preach, brother! Preach, man! Preach, preach!" Man, when they say preach, I go. And the women in my church, they do this. Whenever you say something good, they put one hand in the air, and they go, well. When you get a well, your hormones bubble. And the men out there in the congregation, they do something special. You say something super, the men yell, "Keep going, brother! Keep going! Keep going!" You don't get that from a white audience. White audience is always yelling, "Stop! Stop!" You know what I mean? It was my turn to preach. And I got up and I want to tell you people, I was good. And they started coming on, and the more they came on, the better I got. And the better I got, the more they came on. I got better and better. I got so good, I wanted to take notes on me. I came to the end of that message, that place went bananas. I mean, it went crazy. I sat down, my pastor squeezed my knee, he said, "You did all right, boy." I hate it when he calls me boy. And I turned to him and I said, "Pastor?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You going to be able to top that?" He said, "Son, you sit back, because the old man is going to do you in." I didn't figure anybody could do me in that day, but the old guy got up and he did me in. With one line. For an hour and a half, he preached one line over and over again. Here's the line. "It's Friday, but Sunday's coming." Now, that doesn't rot your socks out, but you should have heard him do it. Started nice and soft. You know, we're all there. And started with, "It was Friday. It was Friday. And my Jesus is dead on the tree. But that's Friday. Sunday's a-coming." Somebody yelled, "Preach, brother, preach!" And he started, Friday, Mary's crying her eyes out. The disciples are running in every direction like sheep without a shepherd. But that's Friday. Sunday's a-coming. Man, they're beginning to pick up now. We were going, "Well, keep going. Friday, those are looking at the world and saying, as things have been, so they shall be." You can't change nothing in this world. You can't change nothing in this world. But they didn't know. It was only Friday. Sunday's a-coming. You're getting on to it. Let's try one more time here. Friday, them forces that oppress the poor and keep people down, them forces that destroy people, them forces is in control, and they're going to rule. But they don't know it's only Friday.
Preach on.
We'll dehunkatize you yet. We really will. Friday, Sunday's a-coming. You're on to it. We'll do it one more time, okay? Just one more time. Friday, people are saying darkness is going to rule the world. Sadness is going to be everywhere, but they don't know it's only Friday. Sunday's a-coming. You do feel better, don't you? He kept on doing that for an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half, one line, over and over again. Friday, Sunday's coming. Friday, Sunday's coming. Friday, Sunday's coming. He came to the end of the message. I was exhausted. He just yelled at the top of his lungs, "Friday!" And all 1,500 of us yelled, "Sunday's a-coming!" People, that's the good news. When we take the gospel seriously, this is what will happen. Our psychological needs will begin to be met. Our capacity to love will be developed. Our appreciation of the miraculous will cause us to expect great things from God. And the Spirit of God that possesses us will motivate us to give ourselves to those who are suffering in a way that we have failed to do up to this day. And when all of that happens, This is the good news. This is the very good news. That even though this world is rotten as it is right now, we know it's only Friday.